What's up? This is Joel and Niko from Blind Channel.
And you're listening to Bleeding Metal Podcast.
And welcome to a new episode of the Bleeding Metal Podcast. I'm your host. My name is Kiki. My pronouns are she, her. And I'm here with our new co-host,
Suzana. And my pronouns are also she, her.
But we also have really cool guests today. We're here joined by Niko and Joel from Blind Channel. Hi, you two. How are you doing today?
Awesome.
Hello, super good.
It's so good to see you. I think you are doing a lot of press nowadays.
Yeah, we have a new album coming out.
Right. Exit Emotions is coming out. Well, when this airs, it's going to be out already and you're going to be on tour. So do you want to give us a quick run of what is in the works for these coming months?
There's a lot. We're going to probably fly to USA in 3 weeks to do a lot of promo and showcase events in many places. And then we're going to start the European run late March. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of stuff happening in the future.
And you've been already so busy with the new album, with the production and bringing out the singles and shooting videos as well. How are you feeling about it? How are you keeping up your energy?
We kind of keep the energy level up by staying sober and trying to sleep as much as we can. I'm really bad at sleeping, so whenever I sleep over 8 hours, I feel like a superhuman being and I can do anything. Like right now, I've been sleeping for 8 hours, so I feel like I have too much energy to do stuff. But mainly, we know that right now the momentum is so high with the band that we need to stick to every single opportunity and do everything we can to blow up this band right now.
But before we go onwards to the more present happenings of Blind Channel and the future plans, which is something that I also wanted to discuss with the two of you, I wanted to get to know you two a little better on more of a human level. So can you tell us your life stories?
Life stories. Well, we've been a band, Blind Channel. I think it's 11 years soon, 10 and a half, something like this. We started the band in high school. We were in same music high school in northern Finland, where it's very, very cold and dark all the time. And we were in this music high school, but we weren't really friends at the time. I was producing beats for rappers, doing this kind of pop music thing. Mm-hmm. And Joel and Jonas, they both had their own bands. And the bands had this rivalry going on. They competed in everything. And I think both of them were kind of leaders in their own bands. But then their bands broke up. And then they joined forces to start a new band. And I always wanted to be in a band, but no band needed a rapper or a beat producer or anything like that. But then there was this crazy high school house party where we all went. And in the party, the DJ put on some Linkin Park music, which kind of combines the rap/pop music elements to new metal stuff. I started rapping to that song, and then guys were like, holy shit, we're putting up this new band that's going to be something like Linkin Park. You want to come to the rehearsal tomorrow? And then I went to the rehearsal, and the rest is history. That's how Blind Channel started. We just released a music video a couple months ago for our song Dead Zone, and in that music video we're recreating the events of that house party. So if anyone's interested in how Blind Channel was born, they can check out the video.
That is a really cool video actually, and that's a pretty cool story. Didn't you shoot the video here in Germany?
Yeah, we shot that in Essen, and the team was Schiller Brothers. They've been better known shooting for Electric Cowboy. Pascal is the guitarist of Electric Cowboys. Basically, the whole team and all the extras, they were German. And everyone was speaking German, expect us. We understand a bit, but it was a cool experience. We would love to do another video in Germany. I guess we're going to do that in the future because we feel that our second home is already in Germany because we have the label there and we go there all the time to do promo and everything.
Oh, that's awesome. Essen is actually 15-minute drive from where I live, and I actually know at least one of the extras from that video.
Okay, cool.
Personally.
Yeah.
Nice.
Nice shoot, yeah.
Yeah, so it's really nice to hear that you feel at home here around this area. But I wanted to ask even a little further before those amazing starts of Blind Channel. And it's also so interesting to know that there are musical high schools in Finland. But did you two grow up with a lot of music around home? Are there musicians in your families? Was music always something that you wanted to do? How did that start?
I think I was maybe 6 years old or something like that. My mother took me to piano lessons to like get rid of me for a couple hours a day. I'm originally a classical pianist because of that, but I was pretty bad at playing notes or playing classical music. I think the first breakthrough was when I was 7 years old and I realized that you can also do this music thing yourself. You can create something. I wrote a song called Fox and the Scorpion. It was bad. I was 7 years old. What the fuck? It wasn't that good song, but it was something that I created. Like, I have a tattoo of Fox and the Scorpion because of that. And that was the breaking point for me. Since then, since I was 7 years old and made my first music piece myself, that was it. I started making music more and more, getting better and better at it. I'm still getting better and better at it. Try to get better, try to make more songs. And I think that kind of set me on the road. I started hanging out with a lot of people. I knew a lot of rappers, Finnish rappers, so I produced beats for them. And then I ended up in the music high school. I couldn't play a guitar or drums or any classical band instruments, so I wasn't the first choice to be in a band, but I always listened to bands like Linkin Park. My Chemical Romance was a huge deal for me, and bands like that. And then I always wanted to be a part of band, and I'm glad that at the end the guys had me join Blind Channel.
I think rest of the band is more original metalheads like myself. I started to play guitar on the same time when Lordi went to Eurovision, and Finnish metal bands like Children of Bottom, him, Nightwish took over the world. We kind of grew up in the world that when you open an MTV, you can see a Finnish band all the time, like him or Bottom or anything playing in the MTV. And we saw that in the headlines every day, that it's actually possible to go outside Finland and make it super big, like in other countries as well. I kind of grew up on that you can start a band here, like many other Finnish kids as well. They thought that they're going to be the next Alex Laiho or Ville Valo. And that's how we grew up with the music 15 years ago or something like that. And we had a lot of metal bands, me and Jonas and other members before Blind Channel, and none of them took off. We were just local shitty bands. We had this idea that we should do something brand new, and that's how we came up with the idea of Violent Pop and Blind Channel, because when we heard Niko doing rap vocals and pop vocals and playing piano and all these non-metal things, we thought that if we take this Justin Bieber into this metal band, we can create something. And the first rehearsal we played super cliche, One Step Closer on Numb, and Niko was playing piano and rapping, and we were like, okay, this sounds super dope. And that's how we came together. But yeah, the life before Blind Channel was that super cliche story. You start a band in the garage of your parents' house. You want to be the next big thing, but you need to find your own receipt to take over the world.
Right.
You all mentioned the music videos, MTV, musical television. It was the first or the second rehearsal anyway at the very beginning. And we didn't yet have a name for the band, and all of us discussed, because we really didn't know each other that well. We only knew that we all loved Linkin Park and wanted to be in a band and wanted to have an international career, but we didn't know each other better than that. And then we were chatting like, what should we name the band? And we were going through things that were important in our musical upbringing. And MTV and music videos were definitely one of those. We all have been like growing up when we came home from school, we put on MTV and watch our favorite band's music videos there. And then it turned out that all of us had a dream to have a music video on MTV. But then when we got the band together, when you opened MTV, it was only reality shows like Teen Mom or Jersey Shore or whatever. And then we realized that the channel had turned into a blind channel for us. And we decided naming the band after that. That was something that united us all, like apart from the music and our backgrounds in different genres.
That is so cool. It's very interesting how Blind Channel has found the sweet spot between those two storylines, the older, more traditional career path of starting a band with friends in a garage or in a basement, and then being discovered and finding success like that, with the more modern path after the internet changed the music industry completely.
Yeah.
And bands had to go viral to get the breakthrough. Now the pandemic changed things as well, but there's a lot of bands nowadays that are big that made it that way, made it with a viral video that they also shot themselves at home or whatever, but you found like the best of both worlds.
Yeah, Electric Cowboy is a perfect example of that. You need to go super viral to make it big. Of course, in our case, we had a little help from this TV competition, but at the same time, we knew that in the future, the internet and TikTok and Instagram and all of that shit is everything. So yeah, you're absolutely right about that.
And it's also so cool to see that everything you saw growing up that inspired you and also motivated you to follow in those footsteps became a part of who you are and what you're doing now. Like you were saying, you saw Lordi in Eurovision. Nightwish was also on the Eurovision Song Contest. And then you won the 6th place on the Eurovision Song Contest in 2021. And now you are shooting amazing videos with many, many thousands of views on YouTube. So, okay, it's not MTV, but who cares about MTV in 2024?
Yeah.
Yeah, YouTube, more especially like TikTok and platforms like that, are the MTV of this day. If you're succeeding in there, you're gonna do pretty well in the tours as well. Of course, your musical upbringing plays a big part in what you're gonna be. We need to also mention that like Eurovision wasn't on our bucket list when we started. We knew it was happening, but our influences came from more traditional metal bands. And then the whole competition thing was only when we just released our 3rd album. It was called Violent Pop. We spent 2 years making that album. And then COVID happened. All of our shows got canceled. We felt like the album was a total miss and there was nothing we could do. And we were sitting at this crossroads that either we're going to stop the band, we're going to stop doing this because we have been building a momentum for 7 years at that point. So either we're going to pack it up and go home, sell our instruments and stuff like that, or we need to find a way to really do a breakthrough. Then it was our guitarist Jonas who said we should just go to television like Eurovision or something like that. And at first all of us were like, fuck no, we're not going to Eurovision. But then Alexi, our DJ percussions guy who also manages the production of our songs and albums, Alexi joined the band and we made a song called Dark Side. And there was the middle finger joke. It was just like 110% us. It was violent pop music. It was something we had always wanted to do. And we found this way that if we go to that competition, we can turn it around and make it look like we don't have to sell what we are. We don't have to do it in the rules of those competitions. We can just go there and be ourselves. And that's how we ended up doing it. It was more like a shortcut to where we were always going. And it was around that time we also got a new management deal. And our manager used all the hype around that competition to help us to make this really big record deal that we had always dreamed of, and things started happening. So it wasn't on the bucket list, but now it's an undeniable part of our history where we have fond memories of that time. But we feel like the great things, the bucket list things that we had always dreamed about started happening after that.
You just mentioned violent pop as a concept. Is that a genre you would adhere to?
It's more like a brand. It's a similar thing that when people say that him is love metal. I think love metal is not a genre. It's more like a brand for the whole thing. I'm trying to figure out some other example of that, but I think that's the best known. So it's like the same kind of thing. We also call it boy band metal or pop metal or whatever. It's a perfect way to describe how the music sounds.
Bands like 21 Pilots, they call their music schizoid pop. That's pretty cool. And then if you know this pop group called Clean Bandit, they describe their music as Baroque house, I think, which is also very fitting and cool. We don't believe in genres. We believe in feelings in music. Music is just a way to communicate your feelings, to be in this cage of genres. Like, you can't do that because it's not true metal, or you can't do this because it's not real hip-hop. And I think that's stupid, because you need to just do the kind of music depending on what kind of message you want to send. Violent pop has been there as long as Blind Channel. It was the same rehearsal where we came up with the band's name. We were sending demos to local radio stations in northern Finland, in Oulu, in the city where we're from, and we needed to describe our music. And the new metal wave was just over. It had ended just a couple of years ago. So calling our music new metal would only feel like we were late from some wave or something like that. And we also felt that alternative rock is a pretty boring way to describe your music. It doesn't say anything about your music. We needed something short and catchy. And then we're definitely this rock/metal band, but we love hooky choruses, like pop music. We love whatever is happening in the mainstream music scene. And then I came up with violent pop, and I think it stuck. People fell in love with it because it was short and catchy. And I think it's been with us 11 years almost.
That's cool. It's really important to find branding, yeah.
I wanted to ask you about violent pop because I'm seeing you being labeled as new metal now. And I wanted to know if that was like a change in directions for the band or just a different way of calling the band. I think what you're saying is that you still feel that you are violent pop and that maybe new metal is just another way to describe you, right?
I think if you listen to the music and if you show it to someone that doesn't know Blind Channel, they say that it sounds like new metal. We don't want to force anyone to call us violent pop. We just want to give the music and they can call it whatever they want. And for sure, for the larger metal audience that doesn't know about us or haven't heard about us, it's easier to just say that it's more like a new metal because we don't want to explain everything. That violent pop is like this and this and this. It's easier to say that it's like modern new metal. There is no change in the direction. I think Exit Emotions in general sounds heavier than the last one, Lifestyles. I guess that's one of the reasons as well. But we decided that we wanted to go into the heavier direction. We want to be playing the big game with all the bands like Bad Omens, I Prevail, all the big metal acts right now internationally. We don't want to be pop rock band. That's not our playground right now.
Do you think that the metal community was welcoming to being creative with the labels? Because sometimes the metal community can be very picky with genres and describing your band a certain way opens the door but also closes some other doors. Do you think that being violent pop and then going in this heavier direction is a path that is working for you?
The reason we're going heavier is only because during the songwriting process of the new album, we did over 200 shows. We did 10 tours, 3 in the US and the rest in Europe. And we felt like the audiences wanted to do mosh pits and wall of deaths and headbang and all that. So that was the only reason things got heavier. It's still very recognizable. You can recognize it's Blind Channel music. It's our music, the music we label as violent pop. And like Joel said, we call it violent pop because it feels easy and funny to us. But if someone wants to call it unicorn metal, they can do it. We don't mind. It's just music. You can call it whatever you want. In the beginning, there was a lot of problems with us abusing these genre limits because we were too pop for many metal festivals, but we were too heavy for some pop festivals. So it was different to find a place when we were doing this festival.
And even Spawn from Records, if you know the label, it's a big metal records in Europe, and I think it's based in Helsinki. Even their A&R said that it was 10 years ago, 2014. We were not signed yet. He said that if you kick that rapper out, we will sign you if you only sing. So it's like similar kind of story that Linkin Park had, that they told Mike Shinoda that you should fuck off, Chester should only sing. And they were this close to signing Chester as a solo artist, but Chester said that, fuck off, we're going to be a band like this. So we did the same. We said that, hell no, we're not going to kick him out. And you will see how big mistake you did in the future.
There was a lot of crazy things like that happening, but I'm glad that we stick to our own vision, because right now we're doing pretty well. We're huge in Finland and getting bigger and bigger in Europe and in the US as well. And now we can do just the kind of music we always wanted to do, just because we'd stuck to our own style. So I'm glad we did. And I'm glad I'm still in the band.
Hell yeah. Bet. We're all happy about that.
Well, you figured out the fucking name and the logo and most of the lyrics. So I guess it's your
guess so.
Work of art.
It's amazing. It's for sure a big win for us and the loss of the label back then. But there have been so many things that have been said that point towards the bigger topic that I wanted to talk to you two about today. And that is mental health and how you take care of yourselves. But something that you just said, Niko, about the music being only a means to express and communicate your feelings, that is most important to me, at least right now. Because in the context of the different categories and the different genre labels and stickers, whenever we're saying something, in order for the other person to understand us, we need to put it in a specific category. That is why or how all of these different baskets and boxes get made, because you just want to communicate who you are or what you're making. And if you don't have a better word than nu metal or violent pop, then that is what you're going to use to describe that. But it can get a lot deeper and a lot more complex the moment you are writing lyrics, the moment you're expressing your own deepest feelings, the moment you are talking about fears. For example, like in the song of the new album called Phobia. Can you tell us more about what it is that you try to communicate? What are those emotions and how do you communicate them through your music and your lyrics?
I had a title in my phone just that we need to make a song called Phobia because it's a cool title. It was just like this creative solution to write a song from the perspective of a phobia, because you're singing from the perspective of the illness. Don't you know me? I'm a phobia. Something that hasn't been done before. Mm-hmm. But usually, like, definitely the music, songwriting and the live shows, they have this sense of therapy. They're like therapy for us. And even though I do most of the heavy lifting in the lyric writing, I write most of the lyrics, but we're always writing from the band's perspective because we're together a lot. We're always in the bus or in the studio together, the six of us. We go through mostly the same things and we go through the same hardships and same difficulties in life, and usually they turn into song titles. We're always writing from our own perspective, and it's been crazy to see that the more personal, the deeper you let people in, the more they find the songs relatable, which has been crazy to see, because you think that this has happened to only me, but then you find out that a lot of people in the world are going through similar things. And I think that's the best part of music. The best songs and the best lyrics are the kind of lyrics and songs that every people can project their own story into that song or into that text. I think those are the best kind of songs. That's how pop music, that's how hit songs work, I think.
I feel that way too. Sometimes you do listen to a song and feel like, oh, this person is spying on me. How do they know that this happened exactly? This happened to me specifically. And then you remember that sometimes it's just a human thing. It's a human condition. It's something that happens to everybody. But I do agree that that's the power of music and the power of art. It connects us all in a very deep way. And that's awesome. I wanted to know how hard it is to be vulnerable about your emotions being young men in this industry. And we know that historically speaking, men don't have that same space to be open and vulnerable and talk about their feelings. Is it hard for you to open up in that way, or do you have a role model that inspire you to do that?
The thing that men don't talk about their emotions and men need to be silent and strong, I think that's pretty outdated. That's not fresh at all. I think it's our generation, maybe the generation before, the people who are a bit older than us, and especially the younger ones. It feels like a superpower of a generation to be able to talk about things, and it's important because, let's be honest, everybody goes through bad shit. Everybody has difficulties in their lives. No matter are you a male or female or whatever you feel you are, we all have hardships. So why just suffer in silence? Why don't say them out loud? It's a dusty concept that men don't talk, or people shouldn't talk about their feelings. That's just stupid. That's how I see it.
Hooray for that.
For sure. Yeah. Joel, what's your perspective on talking about your feelings in your music?
I think if you want to be a successful artist, you kind of have to open up. It's not 80s anymore, and rock and roll is not about sex, drugs, and destroying holy rooms. You need to open up from the inside and be super honest about everything if you want to make it true. There's so much noise happening all the time. There's so many artists and bands, and the competition is so hard that only the real ones and the ones that really got something captured in the best and honest way, they will make it true. That's how I feel about it. Because the world is a mess right now, and there's so much entertainment going on that it's so hard to cut through out of that. So yeah, I guess it's a mandatory thing. You need to have the real emotions in.
Is that something you do in your personal lives as well? If I may ask, you two said that the music is therapeutic in a way. And I absolutely agree with that. And talking about therapy, have you been to therapy? Would you be open to going to therapy at some point?
Yeah.
I've been going since we got to, I think it was the national selection of the Eurovision. And after that, when things started to blow up super fast, there was a lot of fame coming in and the pressure, and everyone was following you. And suddenly there was like the schedule was straight from the hellhole. It's been like that for 3 years now. So yeah, I've been going to therapy a lot. I think my number one enemy is the lack of sleep. I have a terrible insomnia. And that's one of the reasons why I go to therapy, because I can't sleep. And that's the worst thing that happened to me.
Can you imagine?
I went to therapy as well a couple of years ago. Haven't been going lately. I think I should. Yeah, I really think I should go again. I find it difficult sometimes to talk about emotions, which is weird because it's super easy to do in the song. Maybe it's the music and the songs that it feels like a safe way of saying what you think and what you feel. But then when it comes to actual conversation, I'm pretty bad at that sometimes. I notice it when I feel really bad, and I have so many bad feelings inside of me, and that's only because I haven't been writing songs lately. I need to get to a fucking studio to get these feelings out of me. That's a weird way. I'd like to get better at that, to express emotions in a conversation, because sometimes that still feels bit hard. It feels like being too vulnerable. You don't have the music to protect you, if you know what I'm saying.
Absolutely. I feel the same way listening to a song. Sometimes you can't express yourself, but the song does that for you. Sometimes listening to a song makes you feel the feeling better.
Totally, yeah.
And I think that's also very important to establish a safe space where you can talk about your deepest feelings, be it in therapy or in a friendship or relationship or through music. And there can be this buffer as well of feeling protected, as Niko was saying. But yeah, it's not always easy. I remember in 2021, I was in Helsinki and I saw these ads in the subway for therapy and saying that it's nothing to be ashamed of. It doesn't mean you're weak because you're asking for help. So I think in some cultures, there's still a lot of stigma around therapy, and it's just such a huge help that I always recommend everybody to look into. And also for you, as you were saying, Joel, all of the success has also pressure and can trigger anxieties and other sorts of mental struggles. And so it's really important that you take care of yourselves. How do you deal with sleep, with communicating your emotions, etc., so that you can do this sustainably? Because this is your dream, you're living the dream, but you want to keep living the dream for decades to come. So how are you doing that?
It's super hard.
I think we're getting better and better. It's still a learning process. We're learning it all the time.
Yeah.
I think the first part was we left alcohol out of our writer because we used to party a lot. We still party sometimes, but we're more focused on the mental health things now. When there's time to party, we party, but now we treat this like work a bit more. And then also with the guys, we have these weekends or these days that we just hang out and don't do anything music or show related, just to remind us that we're also great friends, because sometimes you forget it when it's all work, songwriting, studio, tours, all that, and forget that we're at the end of the day, we're still good, very good friends, best friends with each other, and that's something you forget. So we're also taking the time to remind ourselves that we're also this group of friends who are living their dream. Yeah.
What about you, Joel? Your insomnia worries me a little.
I have a medicine for that. It goes with the stress. Whenever there's a lot of stuff happening, I'm super bad at saying no to things. For example, I started my own radio show here in the biggest rock radio in Finland. I said yes to that, so I have to record all the episodes with the host that is with me in the show. So we have to do all the episodes before the tour starts. And then at the same time, I'm doing tons of interviews for the band, and we're preparing for the tour. We have Kerrang flying into Helsinki next week. We're doing a big feature. So I'm just trying to calm down for a few days, going to the gym, going to outdoors, just trying to relax as much as possible. And also, for sure, I have to do sleeping pills to go through this. But yeah, it's been my number one enemy since 2021 that I can't sleep. If I would sleep every night like 8 to 9 hours, I would be a superhuman. Right now, last night, I slept like 8 hours and I feel like a superhuman right now. But most of the days I go through with only a few hours of sleep. But I get used to it also. But I know that these are the years when we gotta grind our asses off. So there is no shortcuts right now.
I think that's also the most important thing about mental health. It's not about curing it. It's not about making the struggles disappear. It's about knowing that you have the resources and the tools accessible to you that will help you get through those difficult times. And as you were just saying, you're super busy right now, so I don't want to take too much of your time. But to end the chapter on also a more optimistic note, you have said in other media you want to become the biggest Finnish band in the world. What does the future bring to you?
It's looking pretty good. It's looking busy, but we know where we're headed. We're super excited for the album release, super excited for the shows to once again connect with the fans and exit emotions with all the beautiful people coming to the shows. So future is looking good, and I think this year is going to be very important. We also have a couple of surprises coming, but we can't talk about them yet.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff happening. We have a huge tour announcements for this year. Also, the headline tour is selling a lot of tickets, especially in Germany. We're this close to get sold out. Hamburg, Markthalle, 1,000 people. Also in Oberhausen, it's nearly 1,000. So in Germany, we're selling a lot of tickets, and other countries as well. We have a lot of work in the USA. We want to build a momentum out there. And I feel that at some point we're going to be 40 or 50 years old, and we're going to look back and say that was a nice ride, and then we're going to just close the chapter, the final chapter, make a movie out of that. And we're going to say that, hell yeah, that was a good ride, and enjoy our retirement.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for opening up to us and telling us your stories. I might see you in Oberhausen then.
Oh yeah, nice. It's the first show of the tour. You should come.
Hell yes. This has been the Bleeding Metal podcast. Don't forget to give us a follow wherever you are listening. We're also very grateful for your reviews. We will see you next month with more cool topics. And again, thank you so much, Blind Channel. We wish you the best 2024, of course, and we'll see you around.
See you around.
Thank you.